Today on a Trekzone Conversation, it's time to look back at 203 episodes and 6 years of podcasting. My, how far we've come. Let's take a look down memory lane.
Now, in its 7th year of podcasting, Trekzone presents a Trekzone Conversation with your host, Matt Miller.
Well, what an incredible ride we've been on together. From those humble beginnings in 2013 to a twice-weekly podcast fest in 2019. But it wasn't always weekly podcasts. I launched into podcasting with 5 episodes across a massive week to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Trekzone.org, the website. Then I tried a monthly show in November, which was left on the ideas table just 1 episode in. 2014 was quiet with only 4 podcasts recorded. 2015 saw us almost triple that effort as we launched into Sci-Fi Weekly, the first attempt at going weekly with a broad scope of science, space and sci-fi headlines. In 2016, Sci-Fi Weekly closed up shop after the Canberra road trip, where we met Dr. Brad Tucker, our Talkin' Science co-host, for the first time. It was also awesome to check into the Canberra Deep Space Communication Complex with Glenn Nagel for the second time. The first was for a project on public access television in Perth, Access 31 for those that are familiar with that. It never made it to air though. We managed to almost triple our output year on year in 2016, including our most successful podcasts focusing on that fan film. Alec Peters spoke with me briefly before leaving the conversation with a few hand grenades over his shoulder, which his now former PR man Mike Borden had to pick up in a 1-hour roundtable with AXA Monitor's Carlos Pedraza. 2017 was a little flat with 11 less podcasts year on year, mainly stemming from a hectic personal life on my part. But we did some incredible things. Carlos joined me again for a 3-part look at the past, present and future of Star Trek fan films. We met Mark Zicree, and James Corley broke the news first on Trekzone that his original series Set Tour would be adding a fan film academy. Last year was big. I took the bold step in dabbling in weekly content again and managed to almost get 8 months non-stop until the content well dried up in July, when I relaunched the show as an audio-only venture, and we sputtered into December with that 3-hour conversation with Jonathan Lane, where I got caught up in his hype of calling it a debate when it should have been the first two sides presentation, giving equal billing to 2 sides of a contentious topic to allow Trekzone viewers to make up their own mind with the same style of interview. I've always found that to be really hard. You watch a great interview or an interview with someone and you want to hear the other side of the story, but there isn't the same sort of style, the same sort of questions. Makes it really hard to sort of get the facts, I guess, and be able to make an informed decision. Well, that brings us to 2019, this year, and what a year it's been. Dr. Brad Tucker has joined the team with Talkin' Science every Tuesday, which started back in April, and we've been going non-stop with that, bringing all the science and space news in a bite-sized podcast. Sometimes it's a little longer, there's just that much going on. Well, we've been to STLV as well and presented 8 bite-sized interviews with Trek alumni. We also recorded our largest audience reach across social media during that trip. Over 235,000 people came to Trekzone for info of that massive convention. We've also been fortunate enough to premiere 3 fan films: Gary O'Brien's Holy Core, Gary Davis's Redemption at Red Medusa, and Aaron Vanderklay's Line of Duty. That last one, in fact, was presented live from Waikiki on our way to Vegas. To the future, and there's no slowing us down. We've got science eps coming, more Talk and Trek with Lee Sargent, and some very special features to bring you in the coming months. It's an exciting time here at Australia's unofficial home of Star Trek, and you can get the inside word exclusively by becoming a member on Patreon today. That really does go to supporting Trekzone's budget and allows us to do even more great stuff. As a TV executive producer friend of mine once said, if you build it, they will come. I've done that, and while this audience may not be as large as other YouTubers or even other Trek news sites, I've only ever wanted this to be a hobby, so I'm thrilled that I have what I have. Here's to the next 204 episodes, and thanks for coming with me down memory lane.
You can get social with Trekzone. Australia's unofficial home of Star Trek is everywhere you are. Get the wrap-up on our Facebook page. Keep in the loop on Twitter and relive Trek episodes on Instagram. Just search for Trekzone.